Learning pyramid: how to remember 90% of learned information. Would you like to learn faster and remember 90% of everything you learned? Whether you are learning English, trying to play a new instrument, studying or learning a new sport, we can all benefit from fast, easy and permanent learning techniques. But the problem is we have a limited amount of time during the day. The key to fast, easy and permanent learning is not that we need more time to learn or study, but to maximize the effectiveness of the time spent learning. Comparison of carrying water with a perforated bucket. Let's think for a moment as the transfer of knowledge to water and learning as the transfer of this water to the place where it will be stored. Normally we need to fill the bucket with water, fill it and move it wherever we want. So the bucket should be a solid bucket. But in reality, our brain cannot transfer information to its memory in the form of carrying information in a solid bucket during learning. The bucket used by the brain to carry the learned information to the memory storage is like a bucket with many holes on it and leaking water in many parts. In other words, most of the information that enters our brain is eventually leaked and very little of it can be transferred to our memory stores. Instead of thinking that our brain carries information to its memory with a bucket that protects everything, we need to know that it is actually trying to carry information with a leaking bucket and learn the techniques necessary to block the holes in the bucket that cause leaks. You may not have liked the analogy of the leaking bucket, but it is the truth. Most people are unaware that there are many holes in the bucket where it carries information to the memory store. The only thing it does is to keep running, trying to carry information to the memory storage with such a bucket. Unless he knows how to float the holes in the bucket, the only thing he can do is try to run faster while carrying the bucket, which is nothing more than helplessly tired. Unless you can turn a leaking bucket into a solid one, 90% of everything you learn will be forgotten. The learning pyramid: how do hive holes clog? I will have two different suggestions for you to turn the holes of the bucket you carry information into a more robust bucket. The first of these is the numbers and suggestions regarding the recall rates of different learning styles that were determined before the 1990s, and the second is photographic memory techniques, which I have also pioneered in the world after the 1990s. I define this system as brain-based learning, or the system that teaches learning. In this direction, as Mega Memory, we organize and present many brain-based trainings to our readers. My first suggestion is about the pyramid of learning that began to develop in the 1960s and is commonly attributed to the NTL Institute in Bethel, Maine. There is an important reason why I am referring to this pyramid. The brain-based training methods and photographic memory techniques that I was interested in at the end of the 1980s helped me add success to my achievements. However, I was a successful student without learning brain-based training. Brain-based training methods have increased my success level exponentially. Here, the answer to my successful period before using memory techniques is hidden in the learning pyramid, which I will tell a little later. First I will talk about the learning pyramid, and then I will tell you which one I am using in this pyramid without realizing it. The truth explained by the learning pyramid in those years was this. These learning styles were divided into passive learning and active learning. While the first four learning styles in the pyramid represented passive learning styles, the last three styles represented active learning. According to research, people remembered information at different rates according to their learning styles. The learning pyramid drew attention to the following ratios regarding these rates. Learning and learning pyramid. Right pointing arrow: 5% of the information learned in a lesson can be remembered, example, school lessons, university lessons. Right pointing arrow: 10% of the information learned by reading can be remembered, example, books, articles. Right pointing arrow: 20% of the information learned from visual and auditory items can be remembered, example, applications, videos. Right pointing arrow: 30% of the information can be remembered since a demonstration about the knowledge learned is seen. Right pointing arrow: 50% of the information learned through group discussion can be remembered. Right pointing arrow: 75% of the applied information can be remembered. Right pointing arrow: 90% of the information used immediately after learning or taught to others can be remembered. Well, think about it. How do most of us and most students learn? Through books, classroom lectures, or, if we find it, sometimes by watching videos. These are all basically non-interactive, passive learning methods. So what's the result? 80 to 95% of what is learned comes from one ear and out from the other. Now I can tell you the reason for my success before I developed and used memory techniques by referring to the pyramid of learning. I would immediately enjoy telling others what I learned and trying to teach. Perhaps this was due to the satisfaction of my sense of help, or perhaps because of my feeling better. But I was happy. In addition, when I was telling my friends who had missed the lesson or had chapters that he did not understand, I was explaining what I learned in simple words, not with the expressions in the book. I still remember the vocalizations of some of my friends. I can understand what you tell more easily than what is told in the book or lecture. Who knows, maybe it's because I'm telling it in words and expressions of the same level. Learning Pyramid says, instead of straining our brains on how to remember more information with passive methods, we first need to devote our time, energy and resources to participatory methods that have proven to deliver more effective results. This means, if you want to learn how to drive, instead of watching videos about driving on YouTube, you should go to a driving school and try driving under the supervision of an expert educator. If you want to play the piano, instead of reading a book about playing the piano, hire a music teacher in your area. If your aim is to learn school lessons and succeed in exams, I recommend that you focus primarily on active learning methods, which are at the top of the learning pyramid. However, if you want to increase your learning and memory capacity 3 or even 4 times more easily while using active learning methods, I recommend you to learn photographic memory techniques as well. Remember, everyone has the same time in 24 hours to achieve it. But while someone is trying to carry information to memory stores in their brains with perforated buckets during these hours, some first learn the techniques that block the holes in their buckets. An example like this will explain the result very strikingly. For example, let's say a student named A can keep 90% of what he learned in his memory while learning a language for an hour using active learning and memory techniques. And let's say the other student named B works for 9 hours with classical passive methods and can only remember 10% of what they learn for each hour. By doing a simple mathematical operation, the student named B spends 9 times more time than the student named A to keep the same amount of information in his memory. 1 * 0.9 equals 0.90, B 9 * 0.1 equals 0.90. Remember, you have to make the most of our limited time. For this, you should focus on the techniques that provide the most impact. In our age of infinite access to information and countless distractions, the ability to gain more information is our strongest ability to reach every goal faster.